Hi, sweet ones, and welcome to June. Big, deep breath as we sink into today's sacred energy. Just setting the intention to receive whatever is meant for you here and now. I saw this meme the other day, and it really got me thinking. And it's really been the theme of a lot of what we've been talking about here on Embodied Divinity, but also the collective waking up to realize this. And it said something along the lines of human beings made being alive so complicated. And we have as a society, we have as individuals created all these expectations and all of these ideas of success and achievement and stipulations for what it means to be alive or to be able to enjoy being alive. And it's really kind of killed the buzz on this amazing, incredible human experience. And so today I want to dive into quite a few things all along the lines of really living more intentionally, sinking more into not only pleasure, but every sensation, where you really get to dance with life and really get to be fully embodied in this experience, and what it means to trust fall into the universe, into life. So open your heart, sink in, allow this time with me today to be like a sacred ritual, a conversation with a friend where you open up and sink into more of the simplicity, the simple beauties of life and what it means to be alive. This last year, I've kind of, maybe even 2-3 years, kind of had my world rocked in ways that I haven't before. You know, in the past 5 years ago, my world being rocked came with a lot of pain or violence or heartbreak or drama. The last 3 years, it's been kind of like this slow burn of an unfolding of a new layer of me, stepping into this unknown version of me that's not anything like any version of me that's ever existed. I've been humbled by the universe time and time again, just completely brought to my knees in a place where the only thing that was left was me and my connection with Source. And I'm starting to see now all the ways that this last 3 years, this slow unraveling was for me. But I will tell you, it was hard, it was painful, it was scary in a whole new way. Because what I kept through it all was a big, soft, open heart, faith, and really my feminine flow, which keeping all that through unsettling, unknown times can be really hard. And this last month or so in particular, really learning what it means to just be with life and be with this experience has been so eye-opening for me. So I've talked about this before, and as you guys know, I have always been high achiever, doing all of these things, I've had all of these achievements, all of these milestones, always having new programs, always new offerings, always something. And I've been really pulled away from this constant onslaught of putting information out into the world, of sharing, of teaching, and really just being embodied in the beingness of life, which has been scary because so much of my identity was built on how I was constantly, creating all of these things for others. And then there was this sense of really wanting to slow down and be with the beingness, but stepping away from that attachment or that identity to who I used to be in all of these ways, right? As the achiever, as the entrepreneur, as the successful businesswoman, as whatever it might be. And so as I've been slowing down, I've had this kind of like identity crisis where it's like, okay, how is just being enough? How is me just being in the garden, being a mother, being in these experiences, having this deep presence with others enough? And I've been seeing so much magic, so much beauty. Every need has been so beautifully taken care of for me. But I still had this urge, this desire to like, you've got to do something, right? Especially like the writing, the creating content, that part. It was something I did every single day. And so to have this new structure where I'm able to create these episodes and create my content in the moments where I feel inclined and in advance, where I can schedule them out and have more time and spaciousness, has left me with a lot of just that time and spaciousness. And so a couple weeks ago now, by the time this airs, I guess it'll have been just over a month ago, I was traveling with my family, and I had an entire weekend of just like nothing. I didn't even bring technology. And I woke up on the second day. It was so blissful. I woke up on the second day of the trip with all of these intrusive thoughts and all of these old programmings that I haven't felt for years, of just like, you have to do something. You have to, how are you not showing up? How are you not creating? Like all of these like really intrusive thoughts. And I felt so much anxiety and like, how do you expect to receive if you're not producing? Because that's the only way I knew before, right? Was my existence wasn't enough. My presence wasn't enough. My beingness wasn't enough. My pure heart for service wasn't enough. It was like producing, creating, achieving. And all of these ideas from the past came back. So I sat in meditation and prayer. I went outside in the hot sun and I meditated and I journaled. And as I'm sitting there and watching the birds, and I have total silence and peace in this moment, and I hear Source say, this is what you've been asking for. Can you learn to experience this phase of your life and still receive all that is meant for you? Can it be enough that you are so deeply present with your parents, with your children, with the experiences you're having on this trip? Can you see that as a gift to yourself and to them, and know that through that you can receive? And I felt like some resistance, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to lean more into this. And for me in that moment, it all just came crystal clear. And I know I've talked about this before, but with this new sense of like, with such a hard, drastic identity shift into newness, being able to trust fall into literally nothing, knowing nothing about what could come, but knowing what I desired, what I intended, that was everything. And the moment I did, I seriously, like, there's no making this up. The moment I did, I had 3 different people out of nowhere send me actual money, just a Venmo, a PayPal, and then a client just sent me a random tip. It was like the universe saying, thank you for trusting me. And that doesn't always happen. That's not to say you're doing something wrong if that doesn't immediately happen. But for me, that was the confirmation I needed. And that's truly how we create more of what we want when we have this plan B, or when we have one foot in the old life. Like for me, I always had one foot in my plan B, and I told myself, and it was a very valid excuse, but I always told myself, like, you're an only parent. These kids you're their only sense of support in every way. You've got to have a backup plan. And I always lived there, and what it caused me to do was never be fully vested in what I truly desired. And it's very scary as an only parent to be able to say, I'm going to step into this phase of doing all things that bring me pleasure, of only doing what my heart desires, and know that I'm going to be supported through the entire way. And it's that trust fall of doing more of what you desire, doing more based on intention, and just simply being the embodiment of what you desire. I've spent the last month being so deeply present with my kids. I scaled back my client load by almost 40%. I scaled back my content creation by 90%. And I've been being with my kids. I've been gardening and baking and being out in my community, and I've had the most incredible conversations, created the most incredible connections just by simply being. And it's brought me so much passion to sit down with people I've never met, never seen before, and have these beautiful, deep, fulfilling conversations. And so all this to say, whatever it might be for you, whatever you're craving, whatever you're longing for, even if it's only for a few moments of each day, can you trust fall into that reality? Can you give yourself that reality for a few sacred moments each and every day? It means being more present in the here and now. It's less shooting on yourself, whether that's shooting as in you're feeling one type of way and you're telling yourself you should feel another. We talked last week, I believe, about how we can feel, we can create, we can manifest, we can alchemize energy, and sometimes especially in our hardest, darkest times. So can you be with all the emotions that come up with you? Can you dance with life? Can you be so fully present with everything that's occurring within your waking reality? That you're not pushing it away. You're not trying to make it any different. When you feel pleasure, feel it fully. When you feel pain, feel it fully. As we don't resist what is occurring through us, we expand deeper into all that we are. And that shoulding, that expectation, that judgment only creates more resistance and inner conflict within us. For me, this unraveling, this slow burn really started 3 years ago when I set the intention to be more soft, to be less masculine. I was trained as a child, but also as just life circumstances of being an only parent, to constantly be resourceful, to constantly be doing, to be creating, to maximize all of my resources so that I can make the most of everything I had. And it was this very masculine pushing energy. And don't get me wrong, it created massive success for me. Success in the way that I used to see it, where there was lots of wealth and lots of accolades and lots of external validation. And about 3 years ago, it just felt so dissonant. It felt so dissonant for me to have built this beautiful thing. And of course, it was serving so many people. And I wasn't fully present with my intuition and with my alignment in a lot of those moments because everything was so streamlined and structured. My schedule was built out years in advance, full of clients. there wasn't room for spontaneous. There wasn't room for my intuitive nature. There wasn't room for my wild. When our life gets so built on habits and going through the motions and ways of being in order to just keep surviving or keep building or keep reaching the next level, we miss the magic of the present moment. And so it was in setting this intention 3 years ago that everything started to unravel in the most beautiful and scary way. It was wildly uncomfortable to go from having a full schedule, and I mean like I was teaching 2 to 4 classes a day, seeing 6 to 8 clients a day, plus being mom and doing all of the things. I was traveling so much, hosting retreats every month all over the world. There was so much going on. And I needed to slow down. And so taking that step back into this new territory created so much space for me to really rediscover who I had become after years of service, after years of self-development, after years of just life experience. And I was shocked to find out that so many of the things that I used to resonate with no longer aligned with me. And it was so hard and scary to let those go. But I'm seeing now, and mind you, this started 3 years ago, and I'm just now seeing the fruits of my intention, if you will. I'm just now seeing the bigger picture. And the reason I was able to move through intention for that 3 years without giving up, without running away, without going back to old patterns was because of my connection with Source, my faith, and my awareness of what felt in alignment and what felt dissonant. Am I able to discern what was for me and what wasn't, and to choose myself every single time, even if it broke my heart? I chose myself in instances where I had to let go of things that meant so much to parts of me because I knew I was choosing alignment with my highest self. And the life I'm living, creating, evolving into now is so wildly different than anything I had ever dreamed before. If I had created a physical vision board from even just 5 years ago to this day, it would be a completely different. And we owe ourselves that. We owe ourselves the opportunity to rediscover ourselves again and again, to not be defined by the past, even if it comes with so much goodness. If it doesn't feel in alignment, we have to trust that by choosing ourselves, by choosing our heart, we will create, find, open to miracles, to newness, and always, throughout every step of the way, that love and knowing is present. It feels like as I'm saying this, that those of you listening are really in this place of rediscovery, of really witnessing and seeing a new version of yourself. And you might be scared. You might be terrified. You might even be doubting and in confusion with yourself. And the one thing I can say is step away from everything. Even if for just 30 days you can set aside technology, and for whatever way fits your lifestyle, step away from all of the habits that you've created, all of the routines that you've done, going through the motions, and spend as much time as you can in contemplation with yourself and deep presence with those that you love, whether it's family, friends, lovers, whatever it might be. Deep presence with those people. Allow yourself to rediscover the wild within, the whimsy, the spontaneity. And you'll start to see the thing that makes you such a powerful human. You already know you're divine. If you're listening to this, you know you're a divine being. You know that you are source consciousness having this human experience. And so what is it that makes your human come fully alive? Feel totally enamored with life. And can you sink into more of that? It's such a beautiful experience. And I know that there's so many things that can come up, of whether it's the fear of losing relationships, the fear of losing some sort of perceived safety you've built. Whether if you're an entrepreneur, you might be scared of losing clients or income. But when you can move forward with faith and not attachment to the old, but faith that it will all work out, as long as you trust your heart and know that all of those external things are simply things you give your authority and power to. When you bring that authority and power back to yourself, you create so much energy within, and then you invest that energy into more of what you love. And I promise it's not about anything external. It's not about the doing of anything. It all comes back to beingness, being completely present here and now, being in gratitude for what you have here and now, knowing it is more than enough, knowing it is for your highest good. And then the one thing that I recommend, the one thing that really pulled me through all of it, was that constant connection to source, whatever that might look like for you, whatever your source, your God, your universe is. It's that constant connection. For me, it was my higher self. It was my lower self being able to turn to my higher self in every single moment, knowing I was held, knowing I was cherished, knowing I couldn't mess anything up that was meant for me. It was that relationship that moved me through it all into where I am today, with so much deep surrender, peace, trust for myself, for this life, a whole new level of expansion, of feelingness, of beingness than I ever imagined before. And that's what we're here to do. To be able to be here now and develop beautiful connections with those we love, to create incredible experiences with this life we are given, and of course to move forward in heart-centered service to all those we come in contact with, because we are all one, we are all love, we are all on this human journey together. I'd love to know what came up for you as you moved through today's conversation. You can drop it below. You can email me at Nikyla@NikylaMaria.com. I really look forward to connecting and to hearing more of your insights on your journey. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for Friday's meditation, which is just a really soothing, peace-filled meditation to bring you back in to harmony with your true nature and highest self. I love you guys so much. Breathe deep and plan on miracles. See you next time.